Hey, what's good, guys? It's Austin here, or Luna. Today's story time, definitely a wild one. I hope you enjoy it. Leave a like on the video if you do, and let's just get into it because I don't really know any other way to jump into this. So let's do it. So today's story time all takes place back in 2015, I believe. I think it was 2015 or 2014. All I know is that I was very young and I was still in high school. I had this friend in high school. We'll just call him Kyle, okay? Kyle was one of my best friends. I'd known him since elementary school. We went all the way to high school together. And unfortunately, nowadays, me and Kyle aren't as close as we used to be. But back then, me and Kyle were homies. And pretty much every weekend, we would be at each other's houses, just like kicking it and doing whatever. And yeah, this all starts off as a normal Friday. I was at Kyle's house spending the weekend there. So I was going to be there Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And we were pretty much just doing what we normally would do, just kind of play video games, go out, get food, go to the mall, like, basic teenager shit. You know what I mean? Now, Kyle's mom was a very interesting character. Okay. I didn't really know much about her. I knew that she barely talked to us. We'd go to his house and she would barely say a word to us. She'd just lock herself in her room, or she'd be out all night or all day and come home like really late. She was always just very, very busy, it seemed. Almost too busy for her own son, which was kind of sad. I can't lie. Like, Kyle would come over to my house and be like, dude, I love how your mom is like so chill and like she hangs out with us and stuff and like she's cool. And I'm like, yeah, man. And he didn't really get that. And I felt bad for him for that. But anyway, yeah, his mom was just always not around, and it was kind of odd, and I didn't really know what she was doing. All I knew is that she worked a normal job as well. She worked at like this call center, so when she was gone all day, I just figured she was working. But the nighttime was the weird thing. Like most people's parents, they go to work all day, they come home and they go to bed. But she would come home from work and then be out all night doing whatever. So, we never really knew. I remember one time I was like, yo, Kyle, like, why is your mom out for like 4 hours every night? Just like gone. And he like stuttered for a second and then he was like, oh, she'll like party with her friends sometimes too late. Or she'll just like run errands at night because she doesn't want to do them during the day. And I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't really question it. I didn't really know. It kind of seemed like he wasn't telling me the full truth, but it wasn't my business. So I just didn't even want to pry anymore, right? So, anyway, on this Friday night, me and Kyle were sitting on his couch just playing some video games. And like always, his mom was just gone pretty much all day and all night. She came home after work at like 6 p.m., grabbed another coat, and like ate something really quick, and then went right back out. And after she went out at 6, she was out all the way until 2 in the morning. So, she was out pretty much all day and night. And at about 1:30 in the morning, Kyle had fallen asleep. So it was just me alone, just like on his couch playing some video games by myself. And his mom came home at about 2, like I said. So she walked in the front door, and the front door connects to the living room. And she walks in and she like waves quietly to me and Kyle. Kyle's asleep still, so it's just me, and I wave back. And she comes up to the couch, and she like leans over the couch where I'm laying there, and she makes really awkward eye contact. And she looks kind of fucked up, I can't lie. Like her eyes look very like strung out. And she goes, "Hey." And I was like, "Hi." And she goes, "What's your name?" I was like, "Austin. I've been here a few times." And she's like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, you're one of Kyle's best friends, right?" I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Do you need anything?" And I was like, "No, I'm okay. I got a blanket, I got a pillow, like I got food, we're good." And she goes, "No, like, anything else?" And she winked. And I'm in my head like, what the fuck? Like, that was such a normal question, but the minute she added the wink, I was like, what does that mean? And it could have meant a million things. So I just kind of like awkwardly laughed, and I was like, what do you mean? And she was like, like the things you guys do at your age. And she winked again. And I had no clue what she was talking about. I was what do we do at our age? What do you mean? And she was like, do I have to spell it out for you? Weed, beer, anything else maybe? And I was like, what? And she was like, yeah, do you smoke? And I was like, I do, but I just didn't think of all people my friend's mom would be offering it to me. And she was like, yeah, get up, come here, come here. And she leads me to her bedroom. And this whole time, I'm like walking there with her just in disbelief. I thought that I was having like a lucid dream or something, bro. Like, I literally thought that I was like having sleep paralysis. And this was the lucid dream I was having while like paralyzed. Yeah, like I was just in disbelief. And I get to her room and she closes the door behind us. And I didn't even have any money. I just wanted to see what she was talking about. And she opens up the top drawer of her dresser where she would like keep her clothes and stuff. And she pulls out this little wooden box and she puts it on the bed and she opens it with a key. And there is no joke, like 8 different types of drugs in this thing in little bags. And I was like, what the fuck am I looking at? And she was like, do you want something? And there's like no joke, weed, shrooms, pills, probably coke, it looked like. I don't even know to this day what it was, but it looked like coke. And I look at her and I was like, do you like sell this stuff? And she goes, yeah. Shh. And I was like, are you trying to sell me something? And she was like, yeah, no shit. And I was like, I don't have any money. I just had no idea what you were talking about, and I just wanted to see it for myself. And she's like, do you want to try something? It's on me. And I'm just in my head like, yo, this motherfucker is offering her son's, like, child friend any drugs he wants to try? Like, she was trying to create a child addict, and that is crazy to me. Like, I still to this day look back and I'm like, wow, that is the most fucked up thing ever. But at the time, I didn't really like realize it right away. So I was just like, I don't think so. Like, I'm good. And she was like, you sure? And I was like, yeah, I've only ever really messed with weed, and I don't really want to smoke right now. Like, I'm not in the mood for it. And that wasn't necessarily true. I definitely could have smoked right then and there. But after seeing all of the things this lady had, all of the drugs, I didn't trust her weed, if that makes sense. I just didn't know what was in it. I just had a weird feeling about it, so I said no. And she got mad at me. She was like, oh, well, thanks for wasting my time, Austin. And I was like, okay, have a good night. And I turned around and I left the room and I went back to bed on the couch. And I remember laying down on the couch and just telling myself in my head, that wasn't real. There's no way that was real. Like, no way. And I went to bed. And the next morning I woke up and the same thing. I was like, that must have been like a long dream or something where like I went back to bed in the dream. That was not real. There's just no way. And sure enough, the next morning, his mom was just gone. She didn't even have work that day because it was Saturday, so she was just out and didn't know where she was. And I got up out of bed, I got off the couch, and Kyle and me start making breakfast. And Kyle, like, can see it in my face that, like, I'm clearly stuck in my head about something. And he's like, yo, are you good? And I was like, something happened last night, I think. And I just, like, don't know if it's real or not. And, like, that was true. I genuinely didn't know. And he's like, what happened? And I was like, bro, your mom got home at, like, 2 a.m. after you went to sleep. And she walked up to the couch. And she was like, do I need anything? To which I said, no, I'm good. Like, I have a blanket, pillow, food. I'm okay. And then she said, no, something else, and winked. And after a couple sentences, she led me to her room and opened a box that had a bunch of different substances in it. And she tried to sell me them. And he's like, oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. And he got really mad. And I thought he was mad at me. And I was like, bro, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't mean to, like, cause any issue. And he's like, no, dude, I'm not mad at you. It's not your fault. But, like, she should know better than to sell her stupid fucking drugs to a kid, especially one of my friends. And I was like, how long has she been doing that? He's like, dude, since I can remember. Like, you know that time when you asked, like, oh, why is your mom out so late? And, like, she just disappears randomly and she's out all the time. Dude, she's out selling. And, like, she's been doing this for a long time. And I've been begging her to stop, and she never does. And that made me fucking really sad to hear. Because, like, I could only imagine feeling like that and being in his shoes. And I remember just, like, being like, damn, bro, I'm so sorry. Like, if you ever need anything, let me know. You're always welcome at our house. If you're uncomfortable here, like, you know. And he's like, yeah, man, I appreciate that. And sure enough, like a couple years later, his mom got busted with a bunch of different substances on her, and she went to jail for a long time. It was like a couple of years, and Kyle was kind of like homeless for a little bit. He ended up bouncing around from house to house, and we actually took him in for a while because he just didn't have anywhere to go. So yeah, man, sad shit, but it kind of has a happy ending. Kyle went on to be pretty successful, man. Like, he got a really good job after high school. He makes really good money, and he bought his own house before he turned 22. So he's doing really well, and I'm very happy for Kyle. Even though we're not the closest friends anymore, you know, he came out of a horrible situation on top. So shout out to Kyle if he's watching this. And yeah, guys, moral of the story is don't sell drugs. Yeah, that's pretty much that. I hope you guys enjoyed this story time. If you did, please leave a like on the video. I'd really appreciate it. Feel free to leave your story times in the comments down below, and subscribe if you're new. I'll see you guys all later. Peace.